You're a polygamist, so it's kind of like they're also
so I wasn't supposed to fall in love?
I don't know. I think I think the tenet was to love everybody equally.
Try that. No. Your relationship with all your children is different. Your relationship with all your friends is different. There are ones that do different things that have different fulfillments and stuff like that. It's like you find higher love, and then everybody just slaps you down for it.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Friday, May 23rd, 2025, the longest season of Sister Wives ever. It's May. The season started originally back in September, and we are on 9 months now, and we're going to get into the tell all now. And I would have thought that coming out of, this concept that, everything had been buried at the funeral of Garrison. That's what Kody said. Everything was in the ground, they got along fine. Everything was okay. Yeah, that lasted for 2 seconds, not even during the funeral, and unfortunately for Garrison, that was all on TV. But now we're back to the tell-all, and we're back to arguing and screaming and yelling about Kody and Robyn and Kody losing it about everyone else, and refusing to see how they caused the breakdown in this family. And after all of these years of observing Kody and all the times he misrepresented how much he cared about these women and years and years and years trying to get us all to believe that this was one big happy family, and he was treating everything equally, and he was contributing, and he was doing all the things. I mean, he had years with that story. And if Christine hadn't left him, they would still be telling that today. That's the issue. Just want to make this plain, Kody wouldn't be confessing that he had fallen for Robyn if the other women would have remained and let him just do as he pleased like they had done for years. He'd have been happy with all of them never seeing them. So long as they kept his secrets and they all knew what was happening. So nothing's really altered. The only variation is that they're not keeping him safe anymore, and so now he's exhausted with having to answer questions about what he's done. And I think many of us are just exhausted with the discussion of the breakups, but Suki's getting paid to do a job, right? And she's being asked to recap the season with them and have them do their tell, all where they can discuss everything that went on in the season. And if we have to go way back to the start, it means we're going back to Meri moving and leaving Kody, and then Janelle officially moving from Flagstaff to North Carolina, and so the family in this season totally disintegrates. It was effectively disintegrated at the end of season 18, but season 19, the start of it confirmed that end. It was finished. And so now we have to go all the path back again to discuss why it's over, and so that Kody can attempt to excuse all of the things that he has done. He must respin the story and make it so that he's just the victim of someone that fell in love, but that is kind of missing the point. But what I find horrible about all of this is that rather than actually acting like an adult and not becoming angry, not being dramatic, he has to flip out at Suki so much so that Suki for the first time finally seems like she's had enough of Kody. And if I were getting paid for this job, I would quit. Honestly, if anyone treated me like this, there is absolutely no chance I would be comfortable with anyone degrading and being just so demeaning like this. And he still keeps using objectionable language. That's just horrible. Kody will never get responsibility, and even when his son died, he still won't just look back and see that he did wrong, and that the reason why this broke down was because of him.
I'll tell you what, there's a divine aspect about my relationship with Robyn, and we have been bitch slapped for it. And I'm sick of it.
I know, but
I like walking around with, I love this woman and I want peace in this relationship.
Right.
But I'm to the point where I'm walking around flipping two birds because I am so sick and tired of being guilted for loving Robyn.
Sometimes when individuals don't know the answer to a question, rather than answering the question, I feel there are some individuals that just simply get loud and upset and yell and scream, and I think we all contain that within our abilities. We can all yell and scream, but with him, it sounds like he's yelling and screaming and getting huffy because he's attempting to just really make this point that he doesn't want to discuss it and that he's so tired of it, and it's entirely missing the point. Right, I believe the question was, loving the wives equally, the plural marriage covenant where the premise of the relationships is that you're supposed to increase your capacity, which obviously it's an imperfect system. It was invented by a cult leader, Joseph Smith, who was simply attempting to cheat on his wife, and he created this entire fraud about polygamy after he was caught by his wife and by the people that he exploited. And by other members of his church, his followers, either way, that doesn't matter for this purpose. The purpose is that he is like getting angry over nothing. There's no way that he can't simply reply to this question, and so instead he just has to simply yell and scream about how his relationship with Robyn is divine, which is actually insulting if you're familiar with their religion, because in their religion, all of the relationships are divine. So what does this say about his other marriages? They weren't divine? They weren't God-called? It wasn't fate? Because for how many years did Kody claim that the relationships were fate? It was as if they were all meant to be fated together, because in their belief system, it is that everything is predestined, predetermined, right? And so, you're already in spirit babyland when you're going up there before you descend, and even before you descend, you already have a husband to be with you or wife. And so when you meet them, it's supposed to be, oh, you've met your spirit person that God already set you up with before you descended on earth. And then your entire time on earth, you're just searching for all the spirits from heaven that were already set up for you because it was divine from God. And so therefore, by referring to her as the divine one, it's saying that the rest of them were not. So then, why bother being with them, Kody? So you could have sex with them, the man who claims that he wasn't a womanizer? These relationships were not divine? I thought that that was the whole premise of your religion. Oh God. And the manner in which he screams and yells and becomes angry? Someone mentioned to me once who knows the family, one of Christine's cousins, indicated that whenever that Kody would become angry at one of the women, he would get in their face and scream and yell and like puff out his chest. And this is the same thing that he's doing to Suki. No different. He hasn't changed. And I hate when people do this to people.
To the point where I'm walking around flipping two birds because I am so sick and tired
but let's get
of
back
being guilty for loving Robyn.
Yes, but you kind of contradicted yourself because
How?
you just
How
kind
did
of
I
said, because you said that you couldn't love a person the same way.
Are we supposed to go, okay, I was in
right?
sales all my life. There was always a better salesman.
You
Am I
also
supposed to
said
go
you can't-
murder the better salesman because I'm so jealous that he's getting all the deals?
But Christine,
let's get
really-
real. This is bullshit that just pisses me off.
Put yourself
Suki.
in Suki's shoes here. She's just sitting there doing a job, okay? And her job is to ask questions of a talent that's been hired on a show that's talent for a show named Sister Wives, where the premise of the show is following the stories of a man that had 4 wives. And now it's a story about what happens when a man loses all of his wives, and you're hired by a network to reach a predetermined and ask questions of a man regarding what occurred that season. And you're actually instructed that you must stay within a specific bound of questioning, because if you don't, the man will likely get huffy and puffy and threaten to walk off set. Now picture that man has a contract with a network, and part of that contract dictates that he must complete out his contract. He must do what is asked of him in that contract, which means he must ask him, he must record, he must talk about what was recorded, he must participate in a tell, all at the end of the season, where he is asked questions about the season and think about those questions and have pointed questions asked of him about and answer for what other individuals have said. No different than the talking heads, he is obligated under his contract to finish that. That is his job, and rather than do that and to begin and to get away from, breach of contract, he has a tantrum, he screams, he yells, and he employs his loud voice to try to remind everybody that he's not going to do that. And they know, Sister Wives producers, that he has a history of threatening production, threatening individuals that if he does not do something, he will X, Y, and Z. He has had every single female that has been on the stage with him that has been tell-all host, fired due to questions that they posed that they were hired to pose by the network. He has had Natalie Morales fired. He has had Tamron Hall fired. He has had, I do not even know how many they've had in total, perhaps 5 or 6 total hosts prior to Suki who were terminated. Suki was brought on by TLC to come and do the job. Her job is to stick to the script of what they want her to ask. Revisit what's being said on the show. There is clearly an agenda that she is provided with in advance. There are some questions that she can't ask because it's off limits, and she remains in this script, and she's instructed as long as you remain in this script, everything will be okay. And the talent they will do, they will not be challenging. And that's the structure. As long as you remain in this, everything will be okay. He will not be angry, will be good, but rather you must come into an atmosphere where if you ask the question that is on the script, the person that you're asking the question to flips out and screams, Now you're getting paid to do this, and you're getting paid to get yelled and screamed at by someone that's a hostile work environment. I don't know, Suki. Maybe you have a claim against TLC for a hostile work environment. And imagine just for a second, what if this was someone like from NBC News? What if this was a Dine NBC episode? What if this was 2020 60 Minutes and Kody was sitting across from a man and behaving this way and yelling and screaming? Can you think of other interviews where people have behaved like this? I can think of, like, there was a time when R. Kelly got really upset when he was being interviewed and he yelled and screamed and he stood up and walked off the set. I think he was being interviewed by, was it Gayle King? I don't know. But there have certainly been individuals who have been interviewed on the news, and then they just get so upset, they yell, scream, and walk off set. That's what Kody's doing. And when those individuals yell, scream, and walk off set and behave like this, it's huge news. And it's humiliating for that individual because of the way that they're behaving. But for some reason, when Kody does it, it's entertainment. It's just packaged, as if we're supposed to embrace it, because this is how he behaves. But Kody is an employee, a contractor for TLC, and Suki is a contractor for TLC, and in this conversation, one contractor is actually screaming and yelling at another contractor. Tell me how this is okay for employment. And instead of fixing the problem that is Kody Brown, I promise you what will occur is we are going to be seeing more and more and more of him yelling and screaming at Suki, not wanting to cooperate, not wanting to answer simple questions, and TLC will plate him. They will make him participate and cooperate rather than standing firm on their contract. Because I sometimes wonder, what if the producers just told Kody, hey, listen, dude, you need to calm the F down. You need to stop screaming at our paid journalist who's here to interview questions. This is not proper conduct. It's an unsafe working environment for her with the way you're yelling and screaming and posturing at her, which is aggressive. It's a threatening way in which you're speaking to her. You need to calm the F down, Kody, or we're going to hold you in contempt of contract. Do you believe anyone on the Sister Wives staff has ever told Kody that? Do you think anybody has held his feet to the fire and told him, listen, you need to stop treating people this way? Do you think they have ever even tried? Because they are the ones that hold the power here. And if TLC thinks it's all right in 2025 for anybody to sit across from anybody there where two people are getting paid by the network, and to have one be this verbally abusive to the other, is that, all right, what type of, I've invested all this time concentrating on, and working on this case with Blake Lively and Justin Baldwin. And at the center of that case, it's all about workplace hostile environments, of work environment that did not occur on the set of Wayfair Right of the film, but her assertions that it did, and investing all this time studying about workplace discrimination and workplace hostile environments and the rights of individuals that are being worked, that are working on production sets. And here I am sitting watching it from that perspective now, thinking, what are TLC producers sending, informing the women that appear on his set that they're paying, if they're going to justify and excuse this type of behavior? She didn't do anything that deserved that reaction. She didn't do anything where he could yell and scream at her like that he was not only shouting about Christine or the wives or all your friends loving Robyn, he's practically shouting at Suki at this point and informing her that this line of inquiry is wrong and not acceptable when something she did, nothing bad. And then when she just attempts to note that he contradicted himself because he did, he's like, I don't want to discuss. So the message is clear: if you continue going down this direction, I'm walking off set. So who is guarding Suki in this position? Is this why Suki's looking off to the producer, shaking her head at one point? Literally, she's looking off camera, she's looking at the person that's behind the camera, because that producer is sitting by the camera. They do in every single tell, all. And that she is shaking her head at that producer and informing them, I'm not okay with this. Who's guarding Suki against this type of behavior? What is it going to take for TLC to know that this type of abusive behavior is not acceptable? She'll get terminated by Kody this season, I swear. Or she'll return, or she's going to leave, because how many times do you have to be on the stage with a man where he screams and yells at you? How many years is she going to do this? Is it really worth, I don't know, 10,000? Maybe she makes on this 20,000. I'm thinking she doesn't make a lot of money off of these tell-alls. Is it really worth that exposure that your job is getting yelled and screamed at? Because if you were working for NBC, this wouldn't occur. If you were working for CBS, this wouldn't occur. You would have individuals actually guarding you. You would have a union. This isn't safe situation for anybody. Why isn't Kody ever held responsible for this? I mean, it detracts from the fact that everything he's speaking is pure horse manure. Kody has no regard for anyone and no one holds him in charge. Not even TLC. Do you believe that this is going to like a cutoff for Suki where she's like I can't do this anymore? Do you think TLC will ever hold him accountable? Can you think of any other television show where this is allowed? I've never seen it before. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye, guys.